Hello, you're watching Global Insight, where we speak to experts from around the world on issues making headlines. I'm Also Young. iPhone users in South Korea have been waiting for the day that Apple's mobile payment system comes to the country. The tap-to-pay system will be introduced next Thursday, more than 8 years after it first launched in the United States. And in a country where 2 out of 3 people use Samsung handsets, with the convenience of Samsung Pay being one of the winning factors over the iPhone, rolling out Apple Pay might change the dynamics of the market. And we discuss the prospects today, how Apple Pay will launch in the market and what it means for consumers and competitors in South Korea. For this, we connect with Chae Sang-mi, professor at Ewha Women's University, Ewha School of Business, and Dr. J.R. Reagan, CEO of IdeaXplorer. Very warm welcome to you both.
Thank you.
First of all, Professor Chae, now, many people have been wondering for years and years why Apple Pay hasn't launched in the Korean market yet. So that would be my first question to you, and what this kind of restriction meant for consumers' choices here in the country.
Apple Pay has been launched in total 63 countries, including China, Japan, Taiwan, Hong Kong, Macau, Singapore, and Malaysia in Asia. For this reason, the introduction of Apple Pay in Korea will be a good news for iPhone users in Korea, who are composed 22% of total smartphone users here. The biggest reason is why the introduction is delayed so long time is that the way Apple Pay works, which use NFC, near field communication technology for contactless payments. NFC is a technology for exchanging data over a short distance of around 10 centimeters using a frequency of a specific band. So it is a principle that enables contactless payments by passing, information between a smartphone and payment terminal. So for this, a separate terminal with NFC function is required. However, most merchants in Korea that accept card payments use MST, magnetic secure transfer method, which allows payments by swiping magnetic credit card and IC chip method, terminals. So where payments is made by, inserting a card. So it is said that the penetration rate of NFC terminal is less than 10% in Korean market. Even so there are NFC terminals, but most merchants cannot make actual payments because they do not have the software. So NFC terminal is required to import Apple Pay, but the payment infrastructure is totally different in here Korean payments market. Also, the NFC terminals are also expensive to build. So it says that reach around 200,000 won per unit. So it is known that Apple has requested that the card companies bear the cost of distributing this NFC terminal in the past negotiation. So in Korea, where the card payments for small amounts are common, it is ideal for all merchant, even small merchant, to have NFC terminal, to install NFC terminal at almost 2.99 million domestic credit card merchants. And cost alone is expected to reach hundreds of billions of won. So that is why domestic credit card companies have not been able to successfully introduce Apple Pay in Korea.
We wanted to get to the technical part with Dr. Reagan, actually. But Dr. Reagan, how is Apple Pay going to be rolled out here in the country? And do you think its use is going to spread quickly throughout the country?
Yeah, I think there's 2 parts to the equation. Certainly there's the device parts, which happen in the stores, and you're touching the phone to the terminals, and there needs to be more of those installed. But frankly, I think the bigger prize for Apple is the online market, period, in Korea. It's $92 billion e-commerce market. 97% of people under 40 years old do e-commerce transactions, and it's the 6th largest in the world. So I think it's using this terminal as a way to start to enter the market in some ways. But the bigger prize, frankly, is getting people to use its digital wallet, which then can be used anywhere, even without a terminal, and getting into this huge e-commerce market that's really surprising people about Korea.
Right, and Dr. Reagan, well, as you probably very well know, Koreans love the word ubiquitous, and that's pretty much what Samsung Pay has been because it uses that MST system, and it's pretty much available anywhere because, you know, it can be used with the current magnetic systems that are in place in shops. And well, if when Apple Pay rolls out throughout the country, how much presence are they going to have? Will shops actually have to install separate devices for that, Dr. Reagan?
Yeah, it's interesting. I mentioned that, you know, that number of 97% of people under 40 are using e-commerce. And frankly, Apple is targeting that demographic. And particularly with the rollout of this particular NFC, it's putting it in coffee shops and convenience stores and those places where those younger generation frequent. So I think you're going to start to see more of those terminals pop up just because the demand is there that wasn't there before. And it'll be a ubiquitous circular platform economy, they call it, where the more terminals that roll out, the more iPhones that are bought, et cetera, and it becomes bigger, you know, over time. And that's really what happened through the rest of the world.
Oh, and I think it's safe to say that there might be something of a hype, or there will be a buzz created when Apple Pay enters the market. And Professor Chair, how do you think credit card businesses are going to really react to Apple Pay entering the South Korean market?
If you look at the most of major credit card player in Korea, you know, except the Samsung and Hyundai Lotte, Hana, 농협, BC, and Sinan, Kumin, all of the main players are about to launch OpenPay. OpenPay is a very simple payment service that allows users to register and pay with card from different card companies with one application without having to install apps for each financial company. So it is very similar way to the open banking service by banking sector. So which means that in a payment market in Korea, there will be a competition between Hyundai with Apple Pay and all of other credit card companies with open pay. In addition, you know, in online market, payment market, you know, e-commerce market, in here, Korea, Naver and Kakao Pay are strong with a simple payment service in Korea. So.
Right, and Professor Che, well, and the question has been, well, is there going to be a commission fee, though, charged on every transaction of Apple Pay, like there is in the US? I mean, how is Apple really going to really monetize from this little scheme?
As you know, the revenue model is Apple's pays revenue model is a transaction fee. So in the US, they receive 0.15 percentage. In China, 0.03 percentage, and Israel is 0.5 percentage. Therefore, it is difficult to provide a service without commission in Korea, I think. So in the case of Apple, if it enters in Korean market, this commission will increase. So of course, there is a no reason not to enter in the market, you know. In addition, iPhone users who account for 22% of domestic smartphone users. So yeah, they expect total benefit gonna increase by penetrating in Korean market.
Well, and it's been a long time coming, but Dr. Reagan, of course, Apple Pay will face a very established competitor here, Samsung Pay. So what strengths and weaknesses do you think Apple Pay will have in entering the Korean market?
Yeah, I think the move towards the desire for luxury goods in Korea is, you can see that quite readily with cars, with handbags, and really iPhone is seen as kind of a luxury also. I think once we see the pickup of that, we'll start to see more of the use of Apple Pay. And so I think the barriers to competition here in Korea have been several. One, just the slow uptake of iPhones, but that's increasing over time. But also, I think it's just the loyalty of Korean brands for Korean consumers. But that's rapidly changing with the desire for more luxury goods. And you see the quite rapid uptake of not only the iPhone, but things like tablets and laptops and even watches. And all of that will increase the acceptance and use of Apple Pay.
Right, and of course, once you buy the iPhone and then then the iPad and all these other Apple items, you grow this little Apple ecosystem in your own home. That's been happening to quite a lot of people I know, actually. And well, what do you think Apple Pay's arrival, Professor Che, will mean for its competitors, Samsung, in the market? Do you think more and more customers are going to switch over to iPhones, perhaps overwhelmingly? And in that case, how will Samsung have to compete and up its game?
Well, obviously for Samsung's Apple Pay's entry in Korean market means that they need to do more peers competition, right? So this is why recently Samsung is loading new services. Samsung Pay has been equipped with a mobile driver license confirmation service. If you look at their advertisement video recently, they address a lot about ID card payments, digital key, ticket, boarding passes for domestic flight with one Galaxy phone. Regarding the market share issues, there is a limit that the use of Apple Pay can be expanded only when NFC terminals are spread to domestic merchant. So, in addition, given that Apple Pay has an exclusive contract with the Hyundai card, consumers who do not use a Hyundai card have restriction on using Apple Pay, which is also a variable in whether Apple Pay is successful or not. So I don't think it's a meaningful changes in the market share will come until after some time has passed.
Right, so it might have to grow its presence here sort of progressively, I suppose. And Dr. Reagan, well, we've seen quite a lot of these online wallets, actually, these online payment systems. And why is it so vital for tech companies like Naver, Google, even Coupang to launch their very own payment systems?
Yeah, it's those barriers to entry and growing the ecosystem. You want more services on your platform. The more services you have.
Sorry, the audio is not working very well, I'm afraid. Could you repeat that, Dr. Reagan? Okay, it seems like we're having a bit of a mix-up with the connection. So we will just get back to you. But let's then another question for you, Professor Che. Then, do you see well, other payment systems such as Naver Pay or even Coupang that's launched its own in-app kind of payment system? Do you see them competing well enough with the likes of Samsung Pay and Apple Pay, which are just global companies, right?
Samsung Pay is a kind of application, so you can load various kind of card in one application. As I told you, online market, e-commerce market, many companies want to join in the market because the market size is growing a lot. So even Coupang is a global company. So why they cannot, be a global company in the payment market? So as you know, the credit card company is in kind of graduation right now. That's why they want to make a other service to be a main player in payment company. But as the market will be more like the platform like a market. So as you mentioned, it gotta be the global size to be a winner, eventual winner in the payments industry.
Like the competition is really going to heat up, and I think we've got your audio back, Dr. Reagan. Is that right?
Great.
Okay, yes. Great. So yeah, my question to you was, why it's so important to have these payment systems for these tech companies.
Yeah, it really goes into the whole concept of switching costs and platforms and being able to create more value on these systems where consumers really don't want to go anywhere else. They like using the convenience of a one-stop place for their payments, for their credit cards, for lots of different things like you see with the Apple ecosystem. They have Apple Pay, they have the App Store, they have their music, they have all these things. And so switching from those platforms is kind of difficult. I think that's what you want to see from many vendors. And I think Samsung, for example, in Korea is going that way, Kakao, trying to create those ecosystems that are very difficult to leave and have a lot of value to them.
Right, exactly. I mean, the problem is, though, they keep offering all these discounts and all those added value kind of aspects to their wallets. And now I have 4 to 5 different wallets in my phone. So, yeah,
Me
maybe
too.
we'll see that changing. But
Right.
yeah, for now, it seems that the e-wallet scene here in South Korea is getting more diverse, and hopefully that will mean better services for consumers. I mean, Dr. Reagan, I mean, until now, Korea's just seen basically Samsung Pay in the markets here. So what has that really meant for consumers here?
Well, it's a limited choice. I don't think that the consumers have complained a lot about it. But I think once they now have more choices, they can actually start to create more services too. It'll be interesting to, one of the limitations though that we have with Apple Pay is by design is trying not to collect and use a lot of consumer information. Privacy concerns. But if you look at the growth of something like Alipay in China, because it has that information, it's able to offer so many more things. And I think that may be the advantage that Samsung has, where it can potentially offer more services. But it's all about choice right now. And Korea didn't have a lot of that before.
I see. Well, this is where we'll have to wrap up today. That was Chae Sang-mi, Professor at Ewha School of Business, and Dr. J.R. Reagan, CEO of IdeaXplorer. Thank you both so much for your time today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Also, thank you to our viewers for tuning in. Global Insight will be back tomorrow at the same time here in South Korea. Thank you for watching, and have a great day wherever you are. Bye-bye.